All right, minasan konnichiwa. O genki desu ka? So if you don't know my intro, that once again, I'm going to tell it one more time, maybe a couple more times. Konnichiwa is good day. And o genki desu ka is are you happy and healthy? I hope this video finds you happy and healthy. Today, we're going to talk, this is part two of what side hustle is right for me or you. So what side hustle is right for you? Well, it's one that you're going to do and you're going to continue with, not necessarily one that you know how to do. But one of the things I like is I like to have one that pick one of something that I'm already doing. So today we're going to go over a few things about how to figure out this is part two. Part two. So you have, if you've watched the first one, I gave you three ideas in three different categories. I'm going to give you three more ideas in those three categories, and I'm going to add three more categories. Once again, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you an opportunity to get my 25 successful side hustles for 2025. It'll just be a download that you can download. And it's just a memory jogger. It gives you ideas of things that are out there. And maybe that's going to say, oh, I can do something similar to that. So it's a memory jogger to get you going. All right, so let's get started today. So let's start off real quick with a recap of why do you even need a side hustle? I'm going to tell you why. Because life happens. And when life happens, right up at the top of that list, it may not be number one, it may not be number two, but it's going to be right up there at the top is financial worries. I told you about my wife calling me from Japan in the video titled Why Do You Need a Side Hustle? And she told me that the initial test indicated cancer. Obviously, my first thought was I could lose my wife. Sadly, my second thought was we can't afford this. Why do my thoughts go to money so quickly? Money isn't everything. Or is it when you don't have any or you don't have enough? I was afraid I didn't have enough to drop everything and be by her side as she went through whatever it is she was going to have to go through. Luckily, we got the biopsy back 8 days later, and it was negative for cancer. She just had to have some surgery to remove some tumors. We were lucky we got a wake up call. I woke up, and I've been doing multiple side hustles ever since. So let's get to the things that you need to look at. Now we have established I probably should have a side hustle to create multiple streams of income. The average millionaire has 5 to 7 streams of income. I'm not saying I can help you become a millionaire. What I am saying is that you need multiple streams of income to become financially secure so that you have the resources to deal with whatever happens when what happens happens, when life happens. Okay, so we want to go three. Last time we went over three questions. We're going to go over those three, and then we're going to add three more. What do you like to do? What do you need to do? And what are you already doing? Those are the first three we're going to talk about. So, first of all, what do you like to do? My first side hustle started when I was 15, but it started before that. I love music. I love listening to music and playing music on a stereo. I'm not very good at the other type of playing music. And so I bought my first stereo at age 11. I worked all summer on the pig farm to get the money to buy it. It was a Sanyo all-in-one system. It had a tape deck over here. What did it have over here? This is going to date me on how old I was. This was just going out of style. It was an 8-track player. We had the radio in the middle and the turntable on top. And I loved music. Every time we would go to town, I would buy the new tunes. Little did I know, the initial cost of that all-in-one stereo was only $287. And it was, oh, I loved it, man. It was awesome. Pounded, turn it up in my bedroom. Mom and dad yelling, turn that down. But I loved it. And every time we'd go to town, I have to buy the new tunes. And for an 11-year-old kid, that was a lot of money to be putting out every week, every other week. Every time we went to town, like I said, I have to buy the new tunes. And it was either a tape. We didn't have CDs back then. So a cassette tape or the turntable, the record, the vinyl record. And anyway, I bought me a liability. because I was spending money, spending money, spending money, spending money. But then when I turned 15 and I was able to drive, I turned that system into the first stereo of my mobile disco unit. Now, even in my small podunk town, there was nobody hiring 15-year-old kids to be a DJ at a dance. So I rented the community center, hired an off duty cop for security. Mom and dad took money at the door. I spun records. Everybody had a good time and danced. That was a stream of income for me clear through college. It gave me some extra spending money. By the time I started with that $287 stereo, by the time I was done, we had a biamped, triamped system with lights in the back and PV stacks. It was probably somewhere around $20,000. Our two turntables were $400 a pop. Now we don't have turntables necessarily. Those turntables that I had, some of the good DJs still use those turntables. Anyway, that was my stream of income from something that I love to do. I love to play music. I love to listen to music. I got up there, spun records. I even loved to dance, so I would go dance as well. But I spun records and everybody had a good time. I monetized fun. It was fun for me. It was fun for the audience. Now we're going to go to what do you need to do? For those of you who don't know, I had to have my leg amputated last March 25th of 2024. I had to have my leg amputated. Wasn't something I wanted to do. When the doctor told me that, it was a kick in the gut. I was scared. I was the most terrifying thing I've ever done. And I've done some pretty stupid, terrifying things. I had 6 months to think about it. When the shock and awe was over of the fact that I was going to have it done, I thought, okay, I don't want to do this. But I need to do this. I have to do this. It's going to happen. I'm not going to like it. But if it's going to happen, how can I monetize it? 6 months post-op, I contracted with my prosthetist to talk to people, to help people go through what it is they were going to go through. I want to tell you a little bit about the thought process that went into that. I thought about this for 4-5 months before the surgery happened. I thought about it after the surgery happened. I knew that his competition had a guy, actually has two guys, that talks to people and helps people through that, does a little bit of marketing for them. When the opportunity came up, I said, hey, your competition has a guy. You don't have a guy. I'm your guy. He didn't reach out to me. I reached out to him. But I was prepared for when that opportunity happened to take action because I had been thinking about it prior. So you need to open your mind and monetize your mindset and think about the opportunities that are out there so that when they come about, you're ready to take action, whether it's mentally, financially, or having time to do it. All right, now we're going to go to the next one. Things you are already doing. Last time I talked about you live in a house, you have to have a place to live. Why not rent out a piece of your house? And that's what I've done all my life since I've been a homeowner. I've had someone paying for at least half of my mortgage. Now we're going to go to a different thing. I hopped into an Uber. This has been a couple of years back. So if the rules have changed with Uber, I don't know. You need to check on that. But I hop into an Uber. My driver was Megan. I talked to Megan. I said, well, how's Uber treating you? And she's like, oh, it's treating me pretty good. I says, how often do you do it? She said, oh, I just do it to and from work. She was a nurse at a hospital. She lived about an hour drive from the hospital. A lot of times she was having to drive in rush hour traffic. So she would pick up a passenger, take them close to her hospital, and drop them off and then go to work and then do the same thing on the way home, but do it come in the opposite direction. It did two things for her. It made her an extra 50, 60 bucks a day, 70 bucks a day. It also gave her a passenger so she could use the HOV lane, which she couldn't have used if she went by herself. I thought it was genius. I thought that was so awesome and so smart of her to do that. Now, I told you we're not trying to create millionaires, and we're not. I'm not trying to create millionaires, but I want to tell you another one about someone who was doing something that they like to do, but also doing something that they made money with something they were already doing. There is a company called Jamberry. You can look it up. It is the first, they did the nail wraps back in 2010. Erin and her sister would go get their nails done professionally and they would get the nail wraps done. It cost 50, 60 bucks a pop back then. They were walking out of the salon and one of them said to the other, huh, I wonder if we could make these ourselves for cheaper. They did a search and there was no one else out on the market doing do-it-yourself nail wraps. They got their hands on some product to create these nail wraps. And then they made a prototype. They went to a home show just with the prototype. They didn't have anything to sell. They came back with a stack of orders. The family got together in mom's garage. They put out the orders. They went to another home show. They did that 2 or 3 times, came home with stacks of orders each time. The family got together, made it happen. They finally decided they need to get a business plan and put this business together. Jamberry was born. 5 years later, they sold it for a multi-million-dollar deal. 50% of the company, they only sold 50% of the company in 2015 for a multi-million-dollar deal. Just because one of them said to the other, I wonder if we can do this for cheaper at home. I asked Erin, I said, Erin, if you had advice to someone trying to start a side hustle, what would it be? She said, even if you don't know the ins and outs of the business, get started and learn as you go. So there's 3 options there. Now I'm going to go briefly over 3 more questions to ask. What would you like to learn? What do you need to learn? And what have you already learned that you can teach someone else? What would you like to learn? I would like to learn to play the guitar. I've always wanted to play the guitar as a kid, but mom sent me to piano lessons. I don't know why, but I learned to play the piano, not very good at it anymore. I don't think I was ever very good at it, but if it would have been the guitar, I might have been better at it. What do you need to learn? Patience. What have you gone through? I have a friend, Nina. She is my grief counselor. When I was getting my leg amputated, my prosthetist said you should probably get a grief counselor to help you say goodbye to your leg. This is a thing that she needed to learn, and it's not patience, but grief. She lost her son when he was a teenager, and she had to go through a lot. So she got herself certified to be a grief counselor, and now she turned that into a stream of income. So she learned how to become a grief counselor. What have you already learned? My wife is Japanese. She speaks fluent Japanese. She could go and do a Japanese conversation class to help people practice their Japanese, and she could turn that into a stream of income. She does not want to do that, but she could. I speak Japanese fairly good. I could do the same. Once again, it's not on my radar right now, but if I ever needed to, I could do it. I speak English. I'm married to a Japanese person. I could move to Japan and do English conversation classes in Japan and probably make a good income there. Once again, it's not on my radar right now, but it is there in the background. So there are 6 questions to go over. You're going to think about that, make these lists. And then if you want help narrowing it down, refine it down, get in touch with me. I'm Bart Merrill, the Side Hustle Samurai. I help people identify their ideal side hustle, create financial security by monetizing the things that they already know and do. I told you I had a free gift for you. It is 25 successful side hustle ideas for 2025. And I'll give you a secret. There's probably more than 25 because I grouped a lot of them in categories. I will leave the URL in the description. You just go click on it, put in your information, and I will shoot that right over to you. If you need any other help, connect with me on Facebook. Connect with me through YouTube at this Bart Merrill, the Side Hustle Samurai, where you're at now. Like and subscribe. Tell me some of the side hustles you've done. Give me your successes and your failures as well. Until then, go monetize it. All right, we'll see you next time. Mata kono ne.